Hi, I'm Justin Morvitz, and today I want to talk to you about virtual reality in the future. Vanguard V. It's a fast-paced third-person rail shooter designed for virtual reality headsets, with levels that are in space, on the surface, going through the crust, all the way down to the core. The core gameplay consists of dodging obstacles by moving your head, directing Q's course. Additionally, the interface has a reticle that can lock onto any parasite it passes over, automatically shooting down enemies with Q's powerful energy weapon. Bit is Q's robotic companion, non-biological but highly intelligent. He also is part of her arsenal. He functions as a remote camera, giving Q the tactical overview of her own situation from a third person, while also providing information on Q's surrounding.
There's an awful lot of junk out here.
I wouldn't recommend colliding with the space debris. Now's not the time for recycling.
What this means is Bit, her AI companion, has two cameras mounted on the front. And what he does is he takes what he sees and streams it to her visor. This allows Q to see herself in a third person, in context with her surroundings, giving her a tactical advantage when having to move through tight spots and various other obstacles. So while the game is played in third person, technically it's in first. You can actually see a reflection of her face off of her visor, and she blinks and reacts to her surrounding. For enemies, we use a lock-on system. All you have to do is look at a target and it'll lock on. You can lock on to multiple targets and it'll shoot a barrage of lasers and destroy them. But what makes it special is it's a celebration of VR control. Virtual reality is a clean slate right now, and while some games kind of force-feed VR, head tracking, and various other things onto existing games, this one is truly being designed from the ground up with VR in mind. The introduction cinematic shows Q looking up at the moon, a very beautiful scene here. We've all done that where we see something off in the distance and it's almost like you can touch it and interact with it. And this is when Bit comes up to kind of let her know it's time to go. At that point, she'll go ahead and ask him to turn on the ARC. The ARC stands for Augmented Reality Camera. Bit starts streaming his video feed to her visor. Now she's seeing herself from a third person. It looks like her arm's on the wrong side, and this is how the game starts. Bit will always be behind Q to give her a good point of view of her situation. The first level has a lot of obstacles that she must fly through that were kicked up from the initial impact on the planet. So she's going to be dodging various things, and there's going to be some parasites in there that will teach the player how the lock-on system works. Towards the end of the level, you're going to see some damaged space junk that you're going to have to traverse through as it's moving. All of this stuff is falling towards the Earth at the same time as you. You have this heat shield that is protecting you from burning up, and everything around you is falling with you. So it's really important to keep that heat shield intact, otherwise you're just going to end up not feeling so great. On the second level, you come through the atmosphere in a blazing speed, finally reach the ocean. Now, at this point, Q is just above the water. She flies very low, and she stays parallel to this water. Now, what this allows us to do is the player can now look up and around without Q having to move up with you. This gives us an advantage for larger enemies that have multiple hit points along the bodies of these things. You have to follow with your eyes to make sure you lock onto all of their weak points to take them out. After that level, you are now entering the Earth's crust. Now it's this giant cylindrical level as you're going down, and there's going to be various enemies plowing through the wall on one side and re-entering on the other. You'll have falling rocks from behind you that Bit will warn you about. At the same time, there will be just various stones and things sticking out of the walls that you'll want to avoid. After we get through that level, we're now in the lava caverns, and here you'll find very hot and intense surroundings. Keep that heat shield up, because it'll get hot real fast otherwise. Now we've entered the Earth's core. This is where the main parasite infestation is. There's one giant enemy there, and the level is shaped like an inverse sphere cavern. This guy's going to be throwing all sorts of things at you. Once that's complete, it's time to escape. On top of that, I got some great voice casts, which you'll be hearing from here in a minute.
Hi everybody, my name's Calendar Val.
It is weird. It's like my arm is on the wrong side.
I've been voice acting for just about 2 years now, and I first got involved with this project through the voice acting community on reddit.com.
Hi, I'm Joey, screenwriter and a voice actor for the character Bit.
We can play with celestial bodies later. I'm detecting an increase in hostile activity ahead. Departure would be recommended.
I first got into touch with Justin through the voice acting community of Reddit. There was an audition for the role of Bit, which I ended up getting, and recording the lines for the prototype has been a lot of fun.
Virtual reality is finally real. It's been a promise since the early 1990s. It's something that's been with me for a very long time. And I'm excited to see it finally hit the masses.
Anybody can jump in, and it's fun, you know, for me who's been playing games for a long time, and for people who have never played any games before. I see this head bobbing and Proton Pulse, and people are just having a good time and they're immersed, and it's great.
VR games and VR headsets and everything related to VR is pretty much the coolest thing happening in gaming right now.
For VR gaming in general, it blows my mind because it's something that I never thought would have been possible. But it's now, it's happening now. The future is now.
VR has been a conceptual thing for so long now, and suddenly it's real and happening, and I think that this could be one of those games that are going to prove its potential.
We've actually are at a time that consumer VR is a reality and it's here, and I for one am very proud that through my involvement I have become somewhat part of virtual reality history.
We have the Sony Morpheus and the Oculus Rift and a handful of other companies coming into this space, and as a developer, I couldn't be more excited.